let's chat about how to lose body fat and what are the three most important things you need to do in order to achieve this. I am actually testing out a new microphone, so as you come in, please let me know that you can actually hear me. I'm just changing my little background here so that you can see what's going on. Oh, maybe. Okay, so let's actually maybe not do that. Whoa, what's happening? Can't make it bigger. Okay, so let's just ignore that. Well, gang, okay, please give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me. Please let me know. We're testing new microphone today. Trying to move to a wireless, more seamless setup here. So can we hear? Thumbs up. Thumbs down. Thumbs up. Octavia, what's up, girl? Can you hear me? I'm testing a new microphone. Oh my goodness. And falling to my death at the same time. Thumbs up. Can you hear me? If you can't hear me, please let me know. Thumbs up. Okay, we're golden. We're golden. Also, Octavia, let me know how we're feeling about the quality of this sound. If you can hear my treadmill or not, let me know. Perfect. So, anyway, back to our case in point. Let's talk about the three things that we need to do in order to lose body fat. So, first and foremost, calories. You cannot lose weight, lose fat, nothing if we are not in a calorie deficit. Why is this important? Do you want to lose fat or not? Like, really? Yes, we need protein. Yes, we need sleep. Yes, creatine helps. But if we're not in a deficit, like, what are we doing? Nothing's going to happen here. So what we need to understand is in order to be in a calorie deficit, we need to be in a state where we are burning more calories than we're consuming. And there's several ways to do this. The easiest way is to reduce the amount of calories, typically by 20%, or for most of my clients, we just take 500 calories off maintenance because we find that's a really great spot to see 1 pound a week progress without feeling too much energy loss or feeling too not great about it. Hunger, not sleeping, not being able to push in workouts, all those types of things. So when we're doing this, the important thing to figure out, number one, is what's your maintenance. There's calculators for that. You can message me the word macro and I'll send you my macro calculator for that. There's several ways we can do this. The other thing is making sure that, yes, we're hitting calories, but we gotta make sure the macros are a little bit in tune with that as well. Hey, Alberto. What's up, Alberto? Good to see you. Hey. And so, yes, calories are king. Protein is going to be the next important thing. Why? Protein is going to make sure that we are staying fuller for longer. It also takes longer, or it takes more energy to burn in your system. So it's also going to be using some more calories that way, which isn't going to be too significant, but still something. It is also going to help fuel your muscle growth. It's also going to help make sure that we're distributing the carbohydrate energy that you're getting efficiently. If we're just getting straight carbs to the dome, we're not going to be able to process them, and we'll have high blood sugar and mood swings and hunger spikes and all of those kinds of things, cravings. We don't want that. So protein after calories. After protein, we need to look at fats. And the reason why I say fats instead of carbs is because most of the ladies who come into my program are getting like 50 grams of protein, but the fat content is why we're over on our calorie goal. What's up, JC? Good to see you, coach. So it's important to understand that yes, we want high protein. We want to hit the calorie target, but if we're getting like 30% of your calories from protein, and then we're getting the most from fats and then some carbs, we're not going to be giving your body what it needs, and we're also probably not going to feel as good. Fats are not bad. Fats are very important. They are needed for you to function. However, when we're thinking about how much it costs, if we're talking the budget, calories that come from fat are a lot greater than the ones that come from protein and carbs, because in 1 gram of protein and carbs, it takes 4 calories. Fats take 9. So it's more than twice the amount. So that's why if you see a food that has 30 grams of protein and 30 grams of fat, there's so many more calories coming from fats, because fats are those 30 grams times 9 versus 30 grams times 4 amount of calories for protein and carbs. I know that sounds like a lot. If you haven't heard that before, the big thing I need you to know is that fat's way more. So you need to have like less. And so when we're thinking about your split, if we're in a deficit, typically we want somewhere between 35 to 45% of calories coming from your protein and about 25 to 30 from your fats, and then the rest go to carbohydrates. When ladies come into my program, a lot of what we see is high fats. And the reason why is because we're getting whole foods, which are eggs, red meat, all these types of things, avocados. But unfortunately, what's actually happening is we're getting more fat and protein than we need. So here's the fix. Instead of going for your whole eggs every single time, have 1 or 2 whole eggs and the rest egg whites. Whole eggs have great fats. They have choline, they have selenium, they have some really important micronutrients that are important for your body, but they don't have the best macros, because a whole egg is like 80 to 90 calories and 6 grams of protein. So like, still great protein to fat ratio, but an egg white is about 20 calories for the same amount of protein. So that's why swapping out things for egg whites, swapping out your 80-20 ground beef for a 93-7 or ground turkey or ground chicken, even better. But ultimately, it all comes down to the ratios. And so the other thing to think about is how many sources of protein are you getting in your meal versus how many sources of fats. Because a healthy salad would be, let's just even take your Caesar salad, for example. We've got your romaine, we've got your anchovy oil sauce, we've got your cheese, and then we've got your croutons. So when we're looking at this, we have 0 sources of protein. We have 1 source of primary carbohydrates, which would be your romaine, which really is more water than anything. And then we've got 2-3 fat sources. So what we need to do instead is think, okay, in every meal, it should start off with protein. What's the source of protein that I'm going to get in order to make this a high protein meal? Instead of it being an afterthought, it needs to be the first thing that you're thinking about. And these are these types of habits that make it really easy when you go out to eat, to think instead of, you know, the crusted walnut salad, okay, what about the chicken salad that has grilled chicken, that has dark leafy greens, that has a light vinaigrette or lemon juice and olive oil, that has not olives and avocado and sunflower seeds and walnuts and candied pecans and, you know, dried cranberries, which are all fat and carb sources. But what about hemp seeds? What about quinoa? What about chia seeds? The types of things that are going to help bring some protein, some good carbohydrates into that as well. So make sure we're not just primarily looking at meals as what's yummy, but what has the most protein. So that was like the longest winded answer ever of calories, protein, and macros. That's like the most important thing to help you lose weight and lose body fat. Because losing weight is one thing, but building muscle and losing fat at the same time is a completely different ballgame. Your macros have to be dialed in, and so do your workouts. Which brings me to the second thing, your activity and your workouts. First of all, before we even think about your workouts, your calories, your macros, that's going to be the most important thing. Your steps are also going to be a very important part of this process. And you don't need to get 10,000 steps. But you do probably need to get more than you're currently getting, because if we're not losing weight, we're not in a deficit. So if you're getting 5,000 steps a day, try to get 6. Try to do that for a few weeks. When you get 6, increase to 7. And just try to do what is feasible, not what is perfect or is the best option, but what can you actually do feasibly? And then if we're capped out at 7K steps and you feel like you're exhausting yourself even to get there, then we need to look at the calories. Because all we're trying to do here is create a balance between how many calories you're bringing in versus how many calories that you are burning. And it needs to be, we're burning more than we're bringing in. So you can do that by controlling food or by doing more activity. My clients do both, and that's why we're able to see so much progress. And you feel better when you're moving more. So when you're eating more too, you also get to eat more food. So that's my big motivator. But I digress. Steps is important, and then your workouts. My darling, break up with Orange Theory. Break up with your Blush Fitness. It's not going to get you where you need to go. Yes, if you're just starting out, if we're just trying to lose weight, yes, it's going to help. But if you've been training for a year plus, you're probably not going to see much progress after that. I had a client who came in and did Orange Theory for 2-3 years, was skinny fat, could not figure out how to get abs, could not build any sort of muscle mass on her legs. She was doing HIIT workouts 5 to 6 times per week and eating in a deficit and wondering why the heck this isn't happening. And here's why. First of all, what we need to understand is when we're training and when we're stressed out, we're putting impact on the central nervous system. We need to have a balance between how much stress your body can take versus how much recovery, because we build muscle in the recovery. So if you are doing HIIT workouts, which is going to be stressful on your nervous system, and it's going to be stressful on your physical system, and we're not taking but 1 day off, plus on your day off you're going for a hike, when are you going to build the muscle? It's built when you rest, when you sleep. So we need to make sure we're taking time off. Yes, it sounds counterintuitive, but you don't need to work out every single day, especially if we're not seeing progress by training a lot. So what we did was we reduced her training. Instead of doing 5 to 6, we did 3 workouts per week, just 3, and they were 45 minutes. And instead of box jumps and squat thrusts and combination moves, we did like 4 movements. And we did mostly full body days, and we did 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps, pushing close to failure. That was the biggest change that she was able to see. And we increased her calories instead of keeping her in a deficit. We put her at maintenance and above because her body was wrecked. There was no way she could lose fat because there was no metabolism to help support it. And I say that dramatically because you always have a metabolism. But point being, if we're doing too much, it's going to stress your body out. It's going to make you puffy. You're going to look skinny fat. We're going to have cortisol overwhelming your body. And we need some time to relax. So making sure that your training is progressive is also very important, and part of the reason why Orange Theory wasn't doing anything for her. She would go in and try and do a little heavier weights on some of the workouts, but they changed every week, 2 weeks, so she could only do so much. So in this theory, Orange Theory, in the not Orange Theory, what we essentially did was try to make sure she did 4 to 6 weeks of a phase. And no, it's not new and exciting. It's not sexy, but it's boring and it's consistent and you have to do it. So making sure that you're understanding that you don't need to do every single exercise and break a huge sweat in order to see progress, but you need to push close to failure is going to be the biggest change you can make in your workouts. And when you're actually pushing close to failure, you shouldn't be able to do 8 exercises. You shouldn't. Because unless you're really fueled and your body has been doing that for a while, you're going to feel absolutely exhausted. So, pushing close to failure in your workouts, making sure that you're doing more sets, more reps, more weight each time that you do them is going to make sure you're seeing progress. So what do we have? Calories and macros, steps, and workouts. Those are the big 3. The other thing that you're probably going to need is some accountability. You need someone to look at you and look after you that you can check in with to make sure you're doing what you should be doing. Because if you have been doing what you would be doing or what you're supposed to be doing, you wouldn't be in the spot that you're in. So obviously, you need some accountability. So that could be, if you're going to a physical gym, you have some partner there that you're either meeting there to go with, or someone on staff that you're texting. And they're like, are you coming in today? This works really well for CrossFit gyms. I have a lot of CrossFit girlies. And they will have to text me and their coach if they're not going to the workout and tell me why. When you have that built in, you're a lot more likely to do it. And I do the same thing for myself. If I'm going to go to a CrossFit class, I'm going to tell the coach that I'm going to be there. And then if I don't show up, I'm a liar. Not just to me, but to them too. So holding yourself accountable in that way is also really important. The other thing here, you're working full time. You got a lot going on. If this is too overwhelming, you need to reach out and seek help. Whether that's me, whether that is your BFF, who's also a trainer, someone who knows professionally what you should be doing. If you are someone that thinks they could benefit from this type of help, please comment the word help or fit, and I'll reach out and we'll see if I can even help you. If you are someone who is too shy to comment, send me a DM privately and we can talk about it that way. But let's open for some Q&A about all the things we just discussed. What questions do you have about losing fat, if it's related to what we've just discussed, or if it's just some random question? So I want to go back to Octavia's question she asked earlier, which really I guess wasn't a question, but she's having a lot of insomnia. First of all, Octavia, I don't know if I can share your news, but something in your body may be changing your sleep schedule, and it is going to be really important. I know you don't have your doctor's appointment until next month, but really important to speak to them about the insomnia and make sure this is something that's coming from that, and some safe protocols we can do to help with that. The other thing to look at is, are we having insomnia because we have just a shite bedtime routine? Are you scrolling? Are you watching TV? Are you on Instagram Reels before bed, which is making you like stay up all night? Are we having caffeine after noon? Especially that sneaks in your pre-workout. If you're taking pre-workout before you go to the gym, are we doing that? What else? Are we hydrated? Are we doing some physical activity to get you some fatigue throughout the day? All things to consider. And if those don't seem to be any red flag, then we need to go to the doctor and we need to figure out. So she's cut out sugar and all that. So let's talk to the doctor and let's see what might be going on. That, I think, would be really the only way, because then they can do some blood tests. They can do their other tests on you. I'm not necessarily qualified to speak on why you have insomnia. I just know a few things that might cause it. So speak to your doctor. But I have time for maybe one more question, and then I've got another call I have to hop on. Last question in the chat. Please type it up, let me know, and while you are typing, I will yap. If you don't know me, my name is Coach Samantha, and I help working women lose body fat, build muscle, and do so in a sustainable way so you don't have to keep starting over. Octavia, should I keep protein high? Girl, what do you think? Yes. Protein should always be high, especially if the goal is to be building muscle and to stay full. Now, if because of what's happening in your body, we are, first of all, we need to be at maintenance, minimum. We shouldn't be in a deficit. We should be at maintenance to help maintain this. And maybe even a little bit of a surplus, because you might feel some more cravings. So if we are needing to adjust your protein, what I would do, first of all, is pay attention to how your body's feeling. Are you craving anything in particular? Are you feeling like you are extra hungry? Are you craving some sort of mineral? Because if we're craving like chocolate, if we're craving potato chips, it could be there's a mineral that you're actually missing out on, like magnesium. So what might need to happen is we need a more balanced diet of leafy greens, we need some legumes, we need red meat, whatever it is based on the craving, so that we can fix those types of things by making sure you're just getting more minerals. Because remember, it's not all protein, carbs, and fats. It's vitamins, minerals, electrolytes as well. So take a look-see. Make sure that you're not just like eating buttered noodles, and we're getting some other types of foods in you, and that's going to be really helpful. So, gang, I hope that this has been a helpful conversation. Tune in, and there is a broadcast channel on my Instagram, and it would behoove you to join this broadcast channel because we will do, spoiler alert for those who are in there, we are going to start doing some weekly coaching calls completely free to non-clients, and what we're going to do in there is just host a Q&A. So I'll talk about a learning topic, and we're going to go through some of our most important things that we need to do and answer real live questions. So if you have specific questions like, is this the right workouts that I should be doing? Or are these the right macros for me? Or how do I get more protein? What sort of snacks should I be getting? Those are the types of calls that you need to be joining so that we can figure this out for you. So to that effect, thank you all for being here. Octavia Good, I'm glad that was helpful, and let's set up our one-on-one so we can go over some more of this stuff. And I think that's all. Ladies and gents, enjoy your weekend, and we will be here Fridays, 1 p.m. Central Time. Might be changing. Check out my stories to fill out the poll of when might be another good time for us to do this. All right, gang. Enjoy the weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Make smart decisions. Get some movement. Get some sleep.